In business, just like in baseball, you want to hit a grand slam. Whether you're a fan of the game or not, our guest says that there are some valuable lessons to be learned from the way the game of baseball is played. Marley Majcher is the CEO of The Party Goddess, a full-service catering and event planning company. So great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, so you have built your own company from ground up to be very successful and a baseball fan.
Right.
So tell me what you've learned from one to apply to the next.
Well, it's great because, first of all, you've got pinch hitters. And I love that analogy because it's all about how it's so important to develop people underneath you that you can delegate to. And so when you develop them, it's also important to keep in mind you might have scaled back because of the economy, which is okay. You can develop virtual people to be underneath you so that you can delegate and get to the higher tasks. The next thing is spring training. Okay, in spring training, the players are out practicing and they're really warming up. They don't just go out on the field. It's so important to do that in business, whether it's before a key presentation, so that you really get the kinks out and so you know where you stumble every time.
So everyone, just sort of take a break, practice what you're about to be doing. Don't just throw people into the fire if you don't have to.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes you have to, and that's one thing. But I even say right down to, like, you know, how are you going to get there in the morning, meaning how much time do you need to allow, and lay your outfit out the night before. Because it's those things, let's face it, right, that we spill on ourselves right before, and that blows things. So practice and do it ahead of time.
Okay, now steal a base. What do you mean by that?
Steal a base. Well, I look at that as kind of preparedness, right? To steal a base, you've got to have your eye on the ball. You're paying attention to everything going on around you, and you seize the opportunity. And in business, there are a lot of opportunities, but you've got to be quick. You've got to recognize them, and you've got to jump in and handle it. And you can't do that if you're sort of not paying attention or feeling a little bit lazy. So I look at stealing the bases also as something that you do, like, first thing in the morning. That's my best time to work. So kind of do those key activities then.
I'm just smiling because my 4-year-old plays baseball now, and he's just constantly like, steal the base.
Right.
You know, actually, he's constantly stealing the base.
Well, which is great. I mean, and that's a risk-taking thing too. And as I say, sometimes it doesn't work, but it can really work in your favor. So you can kind of use that.
Okay, be a star pitcher. Yes, all of us want to be a star pitcher.
All of us want to be a star pitcher and be that leader. And it's so important for the leader to obviously set the tone and then to have, you know, people that can pitch as well. So that, again, it goes back to the first point about being able to delegate. I also look at it as like a shadow. I always like to have at least 2 people who can do any job so that you're not worried that, oh my gosh, if somebody quits or if somebody, that you're completely stuck, or if somebody, you know, has a baby or complications from being pregnant or something like that, you never know. But
and also that people's jobs are documented, so if something happens, they can pass it on.
They can jump in it, and it doesn't have to be somebody knowing exactly every part of somebody else's job. It's just this person could know pieces and somebody else could know the other half, so that you're just never really stuck.
And where to start. Okay, and finally, load the bases.
Load the bases. Well, I think that's a good one because so many times in business we go for that home run, you know, that like quick buck, or that, listen, let's try to like build the internet company and make $100 million. Well, sometimes it's about like smaller wins and really getting the bases loaded and then getting it all home. The other thing too is I look at it for goal setting. It's about chunking it down. So instead of just saying, oh my gosh, I'm only focused, like success is only a home run. No. Success can be broken down into smaller pieces, and that becomes much more manageable. And I think in business, when something feels overwhelming, I got this great advice from a book, and it was like, just take smaller steps. Because somewhere between here and here, which seems impossible, is one more tread. And then it's like, oh, I could do that.
And,
you know?
And celebrate that, right?
And
don't feel badly if you don't hit here.
No.
Feel excited that you've gotten here and then here and then here.
Exactly. And one of the other ways I do it is I love visual things. And so even just create a thermometer, as like dumb and old school as it sounds, whether it's for your sales or how much money you want to cut out of your budget, and just color it in every time so you can see the progress that you're making, because incremental progress is super, super important. You know, you're going to get to December 31st no matter what, right? So we might as well just take steps and not stress out on the 29th that we didn't hit our annual goal.
All right, Marley, so great to see you as always. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.